Paul Manafort doesn't deserve a prison sentence. No nonviolent editors note the opinions in this article are the authors, as published by our content partner, and do not necessarily represent the views of MSN or Microsoft. Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign chair, faced of 2 rounds of sentencing Wednesday for convictions stemming from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. 4 crimes in. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Desperate Housewives actress Felicity Huffman, several dozen wealthy parents charged for alleged bribery and deception to scam their kids' way into elite universities. Huffman was arrested. Neither of these are very sympathetic people. They stand accused. This is not the same question as, why? But prison time is not appropriate. Whether you agree with, there are about incarcerated in the United States. Our country for another 465,000 are held in local jails without having been convicted of any crime. Their median detention. Yet of greatest concern to this discussion are the 849,000 in custody for nonviolent offenses. Some of these crimes, research indicates incarcerating these nonviolent offenders does not lead to or. So far from we are incarcerating for longer stretches of time for no good reason, and though lessening sentences for violent crimes will probably always be a contentious and difficult question, with nonviolent offenses there should be no such hang-ups. Indeed, the most frequent objection I've seen raised to the idea that people like Manafort and Huffman should not be incarcerated is that it is unfair to let them off without prison time when poor and minority defendants convicted of nonviolent offenses will receive no such consideration. Why should the president? This critique is entirely correct, but its solution is: we don't help the wealthy, white, and well-connected, shouldn't.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.